Are we done now? We are done now. We're watching the fish swim. So let's kill the fish. Actually, let's kill this whole thing. We're not looking at Godot today. We're looking at Unity today. And the big news of today, let me check, wrong window. Wrong window. The big news of today, I finally renewed my Rider license and installed the plugin, and oh my goodness, that was... You open Rider, Rider says, yeah, this project is already open, and then you open Unity, and Unity says, I can't use this because, and then you close Rider and Unity and start both of them, and they say, nope, and then you reboot your system, and both say, oh, now I work. I mean, it's 2024. Why do I have to reboot my operating system to install an app? And this is a Mac, this is not Windows, right? It hasn't been rebooted in 3 months, so enough rambling. I hope. I'm not sure how good this will work, right? But I hope that this will, at least we have stuff like auto completion. It already says, hey, this is not how it's supposed. Can I? I cannot zoom in. I cannot zoom in. At least it told me that I'm in the editor, right? And that I'm in play mode. And if I edit now, things will go sideways. What happens if I press this play button here? Will it attach the debugger? Ooh, nice. That starts it. And pressing that again, I mean, it could turn into a stop button to show what I'm doing, but actually stops it. So that works. That works. We can attach, we can debug. We're not going to debug. Debugging, as soon as you open up the debugger, you lost already. You should know what your code does. I haven't opened the debugger in I don't know how long. Yes, sometimes printf debugging, but why is this typo? Rename to what? Would be nice to if it showed me. Give a new name to the method posx. Um, okay. I mean, okay. It's working. I don't care, right? So, where were we? Last time, right? We edited the legacy loading, and we actually did a better version than the Godot version. It's much cleaner. Basically, we implemented, too many windows here. We implemented the serializer thing, right? And relearned a bit of why is this? Okay, give me a second. Can we make this font bigger? I mean, this font is font size 13. Are you crazy? No wonder people write spaghetti code, right? It's not only for you, it's also, if there's more than 30 lines, then you probably lost already. So we wrote the serializer, which basically loads the file. We have the debug thing in here. Maybe 18 is a bit too much. Let's set that. Oh, thank you. You remembered where I was. I also don't like the font, but let's not change that for the moment. That font is not very readable. Ooh, I'm gonna struggle with it. But blah 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 blah. So we wrote the serializer and getting the next byte. And there's a reason why we do it this way. Magic will happen once we start writing. Ignore that for the moment. Obviously, this return false never triggers because we always get out here, right? Convert into using declaration. We're not gonna... change all our code, right? So if it's working, it's working. We ignore it. So we get the next byte. Serializing U8 is just reading the next byte. 16 is 2 bytes and shifting them in the right order. Remember, we had some struggles there. Serialize EU32, same discussion. We had a 32 here, which was a big oopsie. Serialize a F32, which was a bit ugly because you can't just reinterpret cast a U32 as an F32, so we have to use this weird bit converter thing, which gives us the bytes, and then we give it the bytes back and tell it to. It works. We have the fixed string serialization, including cutting off at the first zero, because otherwise, because C# says, yeah, zeros in strings are fine, it's UTF-8, and Unity says, oh, I stopped printing at the first zero, which is, why? Why? I don't know. So we have the serializer, we have the game manager, which is a bit of a hack, and it will stay a bit of a hack. We just want to make it work, right? So we loading a file and struggled a bit there with resources versus streaming assets. It's just what it is. Resources are basically baked in when streaming assets are actually on the file system. And we want that, right? Because we want to replace the zones externally without rebuilding anything. Even at runtime, just say reload this folder and show the new zones, right? So that's fine. The addressable load here from the obstacles we did earlier. So we did the serialize. We basically said, hey, zone. So we told the serializer, load this file. And if that succeeded, we said, hey, zone, serialize yourself. Or in this case, deserialize, but same. It just knows the serializer knows which direction it's working on. So this will look the same. And then if all that succeeded, we assigned it. It needs some better handling. We have the hard-coded zone name here, and all of that will need some work, but not all at once. And sorry. So that will solve itself over time. And then we have spawn zone, which basically says if you don't have obstacles, right? If you implicit check for Unity object lifetime. So we'll get cleaner over time. So basically, we say if we don't have obstacles, if we have obstacles and we have the zone, then we do this. If we don't have the zone, we do the spawning of the 3 rocks, right? And then we just go. This is the layers we're using, and this probably tells me my naming scheme is wrong. Okay, so it doesn't use. Okay, it doesn't use snake case, it uses camel case, but that's fine. And this for each probably should be 4. Really? No. No. I want a for each here, right? That I mean, and I don't want a var here because I want explicit, right? The var. Okay, let's not play with the editor. Let's see how the editor can help us, and slowly we go towards it. So we get a new layer, and if that layer name is in this array here, in this string array, then if it's not in that string array, we continue, which means we go here. If it's in there, we go through all the objects, instantiate them, and set them to ourselves. And we also apply the object position and the object z rotation. That's why the rocks at the top are at the top and are turned upside down. And all of that, if you look at the game, all of that, I mean, I didn't change anything, so I'm not sure what it's doing now. All of that means, yay, we have the zones, right? And that's what we did last time. So obviously we only have one obstacle. So let's do a few other obstacles, right? Let's at least get the rocks right before we do any more. And we already sneakily, where is it? We already copied our CRCs here. So basically here we need to instantiate the right thing, right? And actually what we will do is probably, we remember no, this is the Godot version. In the original version, the zone, no, this is zone manager in the spawn, right? In the next zone where we iterate over the layers, where is it? Spawn zone here, right? We actually got the config from the config management, and that's probably what we should do long term. Could be a spreadsheet, could be a JSON file, could be just an array built in. So we say, hey, config file, give me the config for this entity, and then we say, okay, if this entity is a pickup or an obstacle or decoration, just do the same code, right? And that's totally fine. That's one way of doing it, and probably the cleanest way of doing it. There's even one more cleanup here, because the entity type, the spawning, actually is almost identical. I mean, we don't rotate pickups, but we could. And apart from that, it's almost identical code, right? The layers are a bit different, but this could use some cleanup, right? And in the Godot version, we basically said, hey, we just use the CRC hard-coded because we just wanted to get to the goal and say, hey, if it's the rock A CRC, we take the rock A, instantiate it into O, which is initialized to null. And if it's not null, then we set the game manager and the position and the rotation, and then we add the child. That's one way of doing it, but obviously these magic numbers here should at least be defined. So we're going to do a third way here. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to create a struct into which we load all this stuff, and then we use a hash map basically to look up. So we basically say, hey, this thing here came from the config, came from the zone file. Do I have a config for that? If yes, spawn it. If not, don't spawn it. Right? So we need a hash map. So we need an object, right? We need something to store this, and I'm going to cheat and put this in here and say private class. Let's call it actually entity config. We called it object below, but why not? So we have a class entity config. It's okay. Private class doesn't make sense. Right? So that has, and this is a pure data container, right? So we could use a setter getter. We could just use the pure properties relearning. So we could just use get and set. I thought that we could name the field, name the property. So we could follow this pattern. Ooh. So I think we just need a plain public variable for the time being. So bear with me, right? Because we have this async operation handle. And I'm not sure it should be a handle, but let's take this for the moment. We don't want to change too many things at once, and we encapsulate away stuff, right? So we have an async operation handle to a game object, and that's just the handle. And as we just learned, something changed in C#, or maybe I'm mixing up languages. I'm not sure. Can you tell me what you don't like? Does not match the instance fields not private. So it's not private, so it probably should just be handle, right? And I actually don't want to call it. Oh. uppercase member variables make me nervous. So let's call this handle, right? This is the handle, right? And that's the only config we have for the moment. That's the only config we have. And then I want to add some helpers, right? Because basically, let's say we replace this here, right? We replace this with an entity config as step one. So we say private entity config obstacle rock b entity config, right? We just do this. We don't do anything with it right now. And this, I hope this is telling me when something is going wrong. Okay, so let's make a typo here and save. I just want to see how that feels. Okay, so we don't have to constantly switch back and forth to see, hey, this ASDF red on black, don't ask. So $30 well invested, right? I only booked 1 month for now. So wherever we use this, right, we switch to this this now. So so I want to move this here, which basically says, hey, load from something, right? I want to move this. I want to move this. Where's the onload complete? Okay, the onload complete is just a debug, so that's fine. So I want to have a class method that says public. I'm gonna give it a name in a second. I just want to. So we say handle equals this and this, right? And the key here is an object. Shouldn't that be a string or a path? Or so basically load from asset async, right? And this is a string name, right? And then we just put the name in here. I guess that works. Method must have a return type. Yeah, because it's void. We could do a bool but let's just do void for the moment, right? So basically we move this in and I want to move the onload complete just for debugging completeness. We don't need this here, right? We move this basically here and on disable onload complete, right? I want to see this, and the on disable here we need to disable on all of them. So basically let's say I'm gonna do on disable here. I'm gonna move the on disable up there as well, right? And then call it. I'm gonna call it indirectly. It's not a mono behavior, so it doesn't need to be on disable, right? But basically we say, hey, handle remove our. I'm not even sure if that works, if is never used. Okay, so what we do in this on disable is now we say, oh, come on. Rock B entity config on disable. Cannot access private method. That is right. Because we gonna make this public, right? Step by step, and if I'm moving too fast, let me know. So we're moving everything from here into here, right? And we moved the loader. So we should be able to remove this, right? And just say, okay, instead we say obstacle entity config and code compilation is a nice thing, right? Load from asset async and just call this. Is it smart enough to say obstacles rock B? Right? You just move this in this wrapper here, and looks like we're just copying code around, and that's actually what we're doing. And I wish I could compile this and check for compile errors without running it through Unity, but I'll check that when we... Okay. So obstacle load initiated, right? So why don't we just remove this? And this will break at some point, right? And this should be faster. So how do I jump to next arrow? Okay. So obviously here we're instantiating the wrong thing, right? So what if we just access the handle here, right? Obstacle and rockb entity config just for now. Right? Is it obstacles or did we call it obstacle? Is there a typo? We called it obstacle. That's why it didn't autocomplete. So we just do this, right? And down here we do the same and the same and the same, right? We moved this stuff into this container. No real gain yet. I still cannot resolve. Oh, obviously. Yeah, probably we should have done that here too, right? So basically, we might spawn before the async operation has succeeded, but I want to move the instantiation. I want to move the instantiation. Is that a word? I want to move the instantiation into the config anyway of wrapper, right? So I'm gonna go like, yeah, let's look away and ignore this status here, right? Basically we say if it's not ready, then it shouldn't be in our list, and then so shall we give it, so this should have changed nothing, right? Should have, could have, would have. Let's see if it did. And it did. So oh, what? Object reference not set, null reference. So we're spawning the zone without ever setting this to something, which is probably right, right? I mean, we load from asset async, but we never okay. Obviously we need to create this thing first, right? So we need to say equals obstacle entity config, right? We need to construct it. And wait. Oh, language switching. We need to know that before we load it, right? And that's what Unity probably told us. I'm gonna go short today, right? Let's try this again. So this obviously works now. We just moved the logic around, right? But the nice thing is what we can do now, instead of having one of these, we can have a hash map, right? So we can have C# hash map associative array hash table represents a collection of key value pairs that are based on the hash of the key. Okay, hash table, and we can just add stuff. It's weakly typed. And it will throw if, oh, it will not override. Wouldn't it be nice if the add just said, hey, if it's already there, I give you the old version, and but we're gonna ignore this for the moment, right? So we have a hash table of the entity config. So we have private, if I could spell private, right? A hash table. We need a hash table of entity config. Entity configs. And we want to default that to an empty table, right? Oh, hashtag, it's untyped. We just talked about that. It's untyped, right? We could put anything in there, which makes me a bit sad. So I'm going to put this into a try. Try catch blah. This looks good. And say var ec equals new entity config. And I'm going to do a shortcut in a minute. Let's do this. And then we say ec load from asset async, right? And I say, I don't want to type this over and over. Can you just autocomplete this string, please? And then what we can say entity configs add, and then magic ec, right? And the magic here is actually, what if we used rockb here? So we could have a macro that this is literally just the CRC of this, right? So it would be more readable, but that's for another time. So basically I say, okay, in this hash set, right? I said obstacles, I set this hash, this key to this value. I set this key to this value. So down here, if I want to instantiate an object, right, what I can do is, instead of getting the handle directly here, what I can do is I can say var ec entity config equals entity configs dot get find. What's the, oh, this documentation is so bad. Constructors, comparer is fixed size, keys, methods, contains, how do I get one? How do I, so we have add, we have write. How do I don't want a contains key. I want the actual entry. I don't want to iterate over it. I want one entry. How do I, that is a, really? Really? Hash table. Add entries, create and add elements, update a hash table, remove elements. Wait. We have create and add. Fine. We have add a complete. We have update. Oh, can we just do this? Will this throw? I mean, that seriously? We have an add, we have a clear, we have a clone, we have a contains. Get object data. That is not what I was looking for. So get up implements and returns the data needed to know. We don't need that. How do I get something out of a hash table? How do what? C# get hash table value by key. Get value by key. And that, oh, literally you use, okay, you just use array syntax, right? So we just use o dot, I forgot the object here has an CRC, right? I think it's CRC. I think it's CRC. So let's say public uint CRC return. Yes, we're mixing and matching styles here, right? So CRC. So we say if object not null, that means we, and it's not object, it's EC, right? It's EC. I still lead. We're getting there. We're getting there. So if we have a configuration, only then we spawn this thing, right? If we have a configuration, then we spawn the rock. And let's just spawn rock B, right? Let's just spawn rock B if it is rock B. These compile times will drive me crazy. Did I just press play? Is it just doing what it already did again? So, okay. Else lock, else debug lock, right? Not lock debug, debug lock. I always, else debug lock entity config not found for wait, oh, that's, oh, that's weird. That confused me. So for o.crc, are we actually deserializing the crc? Did we actually implement that? We are serializing the crc, right? I mean, it's the only bloody thing that we didn't trace here. So let's just, we trace everything, but not that one. Right, so let's see. Error argument 2 cannot confirm from uint to Unity object. Really? Okay, fair enough. So didn't we insert that into our hash map? Did we forget that? So we're loading a lot of objects, right? With the CRC, which we probably should have printed as hex. Entity config not found for. Okay. To hex string to hex string. Didn't we do that 2 days ago? I forgot already how it works. To string x. Obviously, I mean that's the first idea I had. Right, so we do this here, but we also do this here. And now we wait 20 minutes while it's recompiling. We wait 20 minutes while it's recompiling, and then we start it. What did just crash here? So A. So what was the rock? What was the rock? What was the rock? The rock is expected. Rock B. Where's our rock B? I put, this is not the file that's highlighted here. Thank you. I highlight a file here, but it's in this file. That's totally not confusing. So rock B is 4951, right? So we have a 49516486 in the zone. So it is in the zone. And now I spawn the zone and I pause real quick. And then it says entity config not found for 49516486 because when we insert this stuff, wait, 495186. Where test equals m entity configs get this one here and this one here if test equals null, debug.log error assertion log error EC not found. I mean, we did insert it, right? We inserted here, so I expect it to come back here unless what the heck is, oh, we added it while Unity hates that. Unity hates working while it's pretending to work. So it's loading. Well, this is loading the zone, right? So it is in there. It definitely is in there, right? I wish I could make that console bigger, but apparently there is no way. I mean, and basically, wait a second. So here we have the same code, right? m entity configs ocrc, which is a uint, which is what we. I'm gonna cheat. Gonna cheat, right? So what if we say var ec equals m entity configs, and we just use the same key we used up there, right? That should definitely work. The iteration speed got slightly better with Rider, but still is far from anywhere near usable. So we wait. EC found. Okay. EC is in that array, right? So, and now it's showing all the things because it says layer name object. Oh, this is so unusable at this size. Can we please just make this bigger? Load complete. Maybe we. So uint crc equals o.crc, right? And we use crc here. And we use crc here, just in case. It does not. Unity is an amazing tool. I've been told over and over, and every time I touch it, I go bonkers. Maybe we remove this trace, right? Because it's quite noisy. I really would love to make this font size bigger down here, but I can't. So load is complete, right? And it starts with EC found. So I'm going to spawn a zone, press pause. Entity config not found. Entity config not found for 4916516486. Right, this number here. This number here. Wouldn't it be nice if I could copy and paste? Oh, I can copy and paste here, right? This number here. Entity config not found, right? This number here is this number. It is there. We find it when getting it here. Do we have two game managers by accident? But if we had two game managers, right? Just to be sure, right? Just to be sure. Oh, it's not void, right? It's self, but we can't do that. So it's game manager. Is it game manager, or will the constructor automatically know that it returns? Yeah. It's probably an initializer and a finalizer, but oh, it just doesn't get a parameter, right? So it's just this debug log creating game manager. I mean, maybe we create two game managers and one is started and the other is not, and then all hell breaks loose. That would be weird because it worked for the zones and stuff. Semicolon expected. Because I put this in here, right? Let's actually say uncrc equals this. I mean, we know that this should work, right? This should definitely work. Let's see. 8 hours of compiling later. That's why Unity developers are so... Creating object manager. I'm not sure why it's creating an... Oh, creating game manager because it's in the scene tree, right? So it's creating a game manager and then it's creating another game manager. So one game man. Okay. 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 So we have a hash table, right? Can we get the size of that? Methods. Properties or methods? Count. Count, right? Count. So after we ended this, right? After we ended this, somewhere here, debug log warn count plus m entity configs dot count, right? This is after we put the thing in, and this here is, and I'm gonna say this only one in this only when we spawn, right? Just once. Let's just do it once. Why is this underlined? So no, it's a property. It's not a. My bad. My bad. Can you please this? This should have been like 1 minute of work. Neighbors are having a disco again. So sorry for the slow moving. It's not me. It's this tooling that is. So count is 1. We have this thing in here, right? And then somewhere down here, let's clear it, right? I press space and I press pause. And the count is 1, but it's not finding this entry. Why? We put that thing in and we're using the right thing, right? So I'm gonna do, can we actually, we have keys, right? Can we print keys? Actually, for each key in keys, we lock the actual key, right? It's just 1 in there, so we just lock the key here. I just want to see what the key is that it's stored. iteration speed is so abysmally slow. So we have count one, right? I'm going to clear this. I'm going to run, pause. So this is the key. Oh, maybe we should have done the toString hex, right? Because we know how to format as X, because that's easier for us to read. One more iteration. ToString takes one argument. ToString takes no overload for method. ToString takes one argument. No? None of them? What is the type of key here? Isn't this a uint? So var just broke stuff. That's why explicit type still roots at C# is such sure. So we clear. I spawn, I press pause. Specified cast is not valid. So this is an object. This is, wait, what does a hash table store? Can I add object key object value object? Really? C# use uint as hash table key. Is that our problem? Really, it can. Yeah, I don't want a hash table with string keys. I'm not sure why. I mean, who would ever want to use a hash table with a uint as a key, right? I I I know how I hash cached it. Really? All their keys are, we could obviously convert the uint to a string, but that would. Okay. C sharp, associative array. Use a dictionary. C sharp, dictionary. Maybe it was just a naming issue. Versus hash table. I mean, it's a frickin' hash table. Okay, let's try again with a dictionary. Let's try again with a dictionary. Maybe it was just stupid me assuming a hash table is a hash table. So, dictionary. And that is typed, right? And this is uint. And what is in there is an entity config. And obviously we need to cannot convert. Oh, does it need the really? Redundant type specification. Okay, you're telling me you cannot do it, but you have to do it? So, if I put it, it's telling me, hey, this is too much, right? If I remove it, maybe it needs to be removed here. Redundant type specification. I mean, okay, we have a dictionary now, right? Probably a dictionary. Can I just add and access? Shall we just give that a shot? Doesn't seem to break the compiler, so maybe, oh, Unity was not running. Unity was running, so it's what's not rebuilding. So let's try this once more, right? And it's compiling what it just compiled just because I pressed play. Okay, so we have one object here and we found the EC, right? So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to spawn the zone and count one. It has the key. Okay. I was being stupid. A hash table is not a hash table. A hash table is something other, right? So now, what if we use the actual object CRC instead of our hard-coded one and wait for another round of compilation? And then another round of compilation. And as soon as I press the play button, I wait for another round of compilation. Why? Nothing changed. So let's clear this. Let's spawn a zone. The given key was not present in the dictionary. Oh, that's an exception, so we have to... Okay. Okay. So the problem is obviously the dictionary. If you use the array accessor, it throws, right? Where's the try get value? Try get value can be more efficient. Okay, try get value, out value. Okay. So we do it the other way around, right? So if entity configs dot try get value, because we know it might not be there, but we don't want to do a contains and a lookup because that would be doubling it up, right? The key is the CRC, and the out value is actually EC, right? But we need to define EC first, right? Var EC equals null, and now it can't, it needs to initialize, right? And it doesn't know the type, so we need to tell it, hey, this is an entity config, right? And that means we can do this, can remove this. We don't have to do this, right? Because we already know if we get here, it is this. So we do this, and otherwise we didn't find it. And the obviously nicely best looking code in the world. C# is not a beautiful language. It's not. It took an hour for something that should have taken 5 minutes. Okay, let's spawn the zone. And now we only see these rocks, right? Let's run the original for comparison. We only see rock B, which is good, right? Because we don't see the wrong rocks. We don't see the wrong rocks. And we know what rock B looks like by now, right? So let's swim there in the middle. So we have a rock B here. We have a rock B here, and I think this is one, right? So we have one at the... Oh, so this is one, this is rock B with the pointy thing here and this here, right? So these are these two here. Then we have one barely visible, and then one down, and then one up. Then we have one barely visible, then one down, and one up. So I would say success. We have rock B, right? You say, but we had rock B before, and you are absolutely right. But the nice thing now is, right? The nice thing is, and I'm gonna, because this is just spammy, right? You probably would put that into a hash set and say, hey, by the way, if you ever want to dump what assets we haven't found, here it is. But this is just spammy, right? And this obviously still needs to be handled. But the nice thing is what we can do now. And let's actually move this. We stole the, let's move this here, right? Let's move this here up in the initialization. And this could come from a config file, so we have this, right? And we don't even need this anymore. Well, that is not true, but I'm gonna remove that anyway. Right? Now this will undisable. We just want to say for each m entity configs var in EC. You just say EC on disable, and now it's going to say, hey, this needs to be an entity config for this to work, right? Why? Oh, obviously this needs to be values, right? And then probably var will be enough because it can deduce the type. It knows values is an entity config, right? T value is entity config, so I don't need to do that. So that's step one. But then we have, obviously we have the entity config here, so we might as well use that, right? And then down here, we actually, here's what we do. If we didn't load a zone, we don't spawn a zone, right? There's no zone, there's no rocks. Done, right? Shall we give it a quick shot? Once it compiled, oh, I have to click it to compile, right? Oh, compiled while I was not looking. Oh, wait. Okay, better. Mühsam ernährt sich das Eichhörnchen und in Unity dauert alles viel, viel länger. Okay, we're getting there. So we're spawning the right rock, right? And the nice thing is now, let's add rock A, right? Let's add rock A. And this should come from a config file. So this here, right? This here and this test doesn't need to be here, right? None of this needs to be here. So this here should come from a config file, right? But what we can do and what we can't do now because of EC, so we're gonna cheat a little bit and use an extra scope here, right? And when we do this, that's probably a sign for, can we put this into a function, please? And we will, but so let's assume we have an obstacles rock A, right? Which does not exist, but that means we can use the CRC for A here, right? And maybe we should do A first, A, B, just to be in order, right? And add a comment here, say rock A, and this is rock B. And slowly iterating towards the goal, right? So obviously, if I run this now, it will try to load A, and A will say, oh, wait, what the hell are you doing, right? So it will try to load an A. It will try to load an A, right? So this says no location found for key obstacles rock A. The addressables didn't find rock A and says, yeah, I handle that in the background. You can still play. So if I play, it does weird stuff now. The object you want to instantiate is null, right? So if this result is null, and then it shouldn't instantiate it, and that probably crashes. So we add an extra if here, and you're going to refactor that as well, right? But we say if ec dot handle dot result is not equal to null, then we instantiate that stuff, right? And I'm not sure what the preferred syntax is yet for C#. Very defensive here, right? If the handle is null, we don't try to instantiate it. Fair enough. I'm not sure what implicit check for Unity object lifetime. Comparison to null is expensive. And it obviously opened it in the wrong window, but I mean, let's ignore that for the moment. I'm not even sure what it's trying to tell me with that error message. It's not an error message, it's a hint, right? Okay, we couldn't load it. So if we spawn now, okay, it stopped spawning because it threw an exception in the loop, right? So it just stopped suddenly doing stuff. So how do we create obstacle A? I mean, we have our project, right? We have our project. So let's just be a bit stupid. We have our addressables. No, let's not. We have our prefabs, right? We have our obstacles. We have our rocks. So what if we can we just duplicate this? So this is our rock, right? This is our rock. With a sprite renderer, a polygon collider. Can I please see? Oh, we're this is our rock, right? And what ideally I want to do, I just want to clone this, make this rock A. Rock A. I'm not sure why. So this is the addressable name. So I want to copy this, rename all the B's to A's, and then redraw the collider, right? So let's try this. So let's right click. I cannot duplicate this. Literally, I cannot duplicate. I cannot. Can I Control C, Control V? Yes, I can. But I don't have a right click copy. Interesting. So we have a rock B1 now, right? Let's call this rock A. And it sorts alphabetically. So I go into rock A. Right? It's rock B. So the clone is not automatically an addressable, right? So I'm gonna, oh, okay, this is gonna be cumbersome. So I'm gonna put this in and call this rock A, right? And I misclicked. So I'm gonna put this into packed assets. I hope this rocks. Rock A. How do I rock A? I want this. How do I add this to? Oh, I have to. Okay. I can't click here and select it. I have to click this little thingy here. So we change the group in which addressable packet is, right? Then we open this thing up, and obviously the text, this is rock A. Can you rename this, please, when I click it? This is rock A. Probably it doesn't need these two layers. So the texture is wrong, right? There's nothing on the root node here because we made it a prefab. So we have the wrong sprite. We want rock A here, right? And I did it again, right? Okay. So again, rock A here, 5 clicks later, and I click here. And I just want rock A here, right? I select rock A. Obviously the collider now is wrong. Can I auto-generate the collider? So, wait, no, this is not what I do. I want to edit the collider, right? So I could edit the collider. Can I just... Can I just auto-wrap the collider? Collider. Can I just say, hey, can you rewrap this thing, please? I mean, I could remove the polygon collider, but the problem is I want to copy them so they all have the same settings down here, right? I mean, right now I didn't change anything, but can I? Okay. Unity regenerate points in collider from texture. I changed the texture. I don't want to go through all the settings, right? I just want to rerun this. I know how to do it from a sprite, right? Open sprite editor and select customs and then move to open sprite editor. Custom physics shape. I mean, this is just annoying, right? Because the thing is, I mean, the thing is, if I just drag the texture in there, right? So if I would remove the component, right? I remove the polygon collider, and then I add the polygon collider, right? It automatically does this. All I want to do is, hey, polygon collider, do what you did at startup, because now I missed all these settings, right? And I don't remember these settings, because if I look here and now I have to double, I don't know what I changed, right? So in this case, I know what I changed, right? I know what I changed, but uh, there has to be a way to say, hey, edit collider or whatever. I mean, even this edit collider, okay, it's green now. Rerun this, right? There has to be a way. Everything else would just be insanely stupid. So this is the grid, right? This is grid snapping. Good that there's a button here that does nothing, and this is snap increment. Draw mode. I don't see anything that would be helpful here, right? So I can just drag this here, right? Which is nice. So you can do this, and we're done in this case, right? I mean, even the collider it created was not that great. This is much better. So let's save this, right? And now, okay, we copied this, we changed the names, so it's rock A and B. We changed the texture. Would be nice to see the collider here, but that's probably not possible. So I have to double click to look here. This looks good with the collider. Now we have to manually compare. Okay, nothing set, nothing. We probably should set that up at some point. Right now we don't have any other collision layer, so that's fine. So look into A and click this, and we have the same settings, right? Is there actually a copy? Would be nice to have like a copy settings and then paste the settings on the other thing. But now we have this other prefab, right? This other addressable. We have a prefab that's also an addressable. And if I press play now, we shouldn't get that error message anymore, because I obviously didn't open the console before pressing play. Thank you for that. So we're not getting the error that says, hey, I don't find rock A anymore, right? So this looks like rock A here. This here is rock A, right? And if you remember the old game that we're still trying to replicate, this is gonna be a hassle. I really should. I have screenshots of the zones somewhere. So this is definitely rock A, right? So this is rock B with the nose here, and this is rock A, which is the small one. So this is rock B with the nose, and this is rock A with a small one, and they almost touch up here, right? So that looks kind of right. And from now on, we're just going to trust the process and going to do all the other rocks, right? So we kind of do it from multiple angles. I'm probably just going to do the copy paste. Rename this to C. As soon as I press enter, I lose the focus. So I'm gonna do all of them in one go, right? So we have, can you scroll please? Can you scroll please? So we have C, D, E, F. C, D, E, F, right? So I copy this, paste this, D, copy this, paste this, copy this, paste this, right? So we do all of them in one go. I mean, if only there was a duplicate button. Hint, hint. E, who needs to duplicate assets ever, right? I mean, so obviously I'm going to be lazy and copy this into the clipboard. Go here, paste this, call it C. Change the asset pack, right? Call it D. Make it an addressable because it forgot that it is an addressable when cloning. Put it in the packed assets. E, addressable. I'm pretty sure there's a faster, smarter way if you really know what you're doing in Unity, but wait. It should be rock E, right? Didn't I? So if I click out here, C, B, C, D, why didn't it? If I C, D, E, and F, right? F and put it in the other group. So we're just looking at this, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. Cloning would be so easy. Obviously, all the textures are wrong. So let's go into C, and obviously this maybe I'm a bit OCD, and this doesn't even need a name, but if you see it in the scene graph, it's much easier, right? So let's do all the renamings here real quick, so we don't go crazy if we find the wrong thing, right? Can I rename this, please? Can I please rename this? Thank you. A, B, C, D, D, E, and F, right? So you saw that I clicked rename, right? You saw that I clicked rename. So all the textures and colliders are wrong, but what we can do now is let's just play stupid, right? And I'm going to clean this up in a minute. So we have C, D, E, and maybe I should have done one more copy. And you already see that this is too long, right? This is too long to be kind of usable. And we'll clean that up in a second. So obviously all the CRCs are now wrong. So I want Roxy, and this editor is, you can feel the lagginess, right? C, D, D, E, and this should come from a config file, my friends. This should A, come from a config file, or B, be generated. So we have our CRCs D0493E, D049E3, A0D74E, A0D743, right? So if I run now, it should load all of them. It should load all of them. and then obviously run all of them, spawn all of them. It will be the wrong assets and colliders. Let's see how we are doing. So let's go to the console. Let's clear this. Let's clear this. And it's spawning, for example, the first two here, and lots of, all of these are wrong, right? And you can see these are wrong, but it's spawning them. Now we have to go through and fix all the textures. So A, and B are correct, right? Now we have C. Double click C, click here. Too many clicks. We can click here, and I wish I could drag and drop, but this is C, right? So let's do the textures first. And we do D. Click here. Too many clicks. Too many clicks. D is here. And we do E. E. This is crazy. I don't want to click. I want to make games. And this is F, right? And now if we go through them, A, B, C, D, E, F. Wrong colliders. Wrong colliders. Expected. But the right visuals, right? I can swim through that because the collider is wrong. And if we roughly look at that, I really want to, here's what I'm going to do. Cheat, not cheat. Make our lives easier. So let's take this. I'm going to put this to the other screen with the known issue. Oh, wrong. The other screen has another DPI and we never fixed that. So, oh, you don't see that. So what if we make this a little bit smaller? Like this, and then swim to roughly where this B rock is. And the A's you just saw. We swim right here. We swim right here. And you see this is here, this is here, this is here. So we did, so obviously the scaling is not perfect. So there's a little bit of offset in here. Let's do it like this. And so you see this is nearly perfect, right? I mean, the scale obviously needs to be right and the offset is not correct. So even more, wait, move it a bit to the left. Move it even more to the left. Oh, we're not getting bigger, right? We just, oh, I need to, my bad. We have this special scaling mode, right? So you can see all these here line up nicely, right? All of these are. So our loader definitely works. Maybe they shouldn't even be off by one, and it should be float correct. And the bottom, I dragged that too far up, but the bottom also works, right? So I'm going to close this. So declare our loading correct. Let's fix up the other rocks real quick. So we go in here, go in here. Can you, oh, wrong view. Okay, my bad. I'm still getting used to scene versus game. It doesn't auto switch. Godot has me kind of pampered there. And let's do this. Let's create a new one here. We're just gonna be super sloppy. Can I merge points here? I'm gonna write a script anyway. So that's in the cards anyway. We want to load the old shape files at some point. So for now, the colliders are just temporary. How do I delete a I'm not even bothering with learning how to delete because nobody's ever going to create collision meshes manually, right? So we're just gonna real quick. We probably could merge a few of these points, but the performance in this case does not really matter. So usually you want to have as little triangles as. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Unity collider editor remove vertex. Probably just shift click or something. Either control command or control command left click. Delete the points using control or command and left mouse. Over the line, not the vertex. Really? You need to hover over the line, not the vertex. Okay, let's see what happens, right? Let's hover over the line. Okay, I hold control. Oh, it snaps to the points, but I have to hover over the line. That's interesting, right? So I want to remove lines that are not the full thing, right? So if I hover over line, it highlights it in green, and if this is too short, like this one, right? I want to remove it, right? Oh, this is so short. Oh, good enough. And then I can re-add one here, right? There's some weird stuff going on here. I want this tiny one here removed, right? Okay. This probably could be one, yeah. And now the collider looks like kind of okay, right? Let's go to the next one, and click here. And then just move this here and probably, I'm just gonna delete a few here. Just because it's easier to add than to delete. It's super hard to delete because it snaps to the vertex and I can't delete a vertex. Now let's move this up here. Let's start from the top. Here we have one. Let's move this one here and this one here. Let's add one here and add one here and add one here. Just following the rough outline, right? So I want to delete this one here. I'm not sure what happened in this area, right? Because the last one was also very dodgy here. So let's move this down here and this down here. So I'm going to be very brutal here now. Right, and then I'm just going to drag this out again. Not really needed here. That's good enough. Drag one. Drag this out here, but this in here, right? This looks good, and then I add an extra one just here. And this looks pretty decent to me. I wish it would show the areas instead of, so I could see if I have holes and stuff, but it's good enough, right? Rock E, collider editor. Let's make sure the bottom points are here. Actually, let's just put the 3 corners in the right spot, right? And then we just very brutally go click, click, click. Ah, I deleted the wrong one. Okay, fair enough. Let's pull this one back down here. Let's delete. It's snapping to the points. This is so annoying. This editor is very, very. So you basically have a triangle, right? We have a glorified triangle. So I'm going to pull one out here, pull one in here, pull one out here, pull one in here, pull this one all the way here. This is good enough for me. We have a flat top. Pull this one here. Yeah, pull one because it's flat. Delete this one and then have one here and one here-ish. I'm not happy about this one. This looks good, right? Getting better. I mean, it's not that bad. It's a bit annoying that it doesn't automatically work, but okay. Same approach, right? We drag one corner here, one corner here, one corner here, and then very aggressively just control click and it snaps to exactly the wrong point, right? Obviously it hates me. I shouldn't have complained so much about it because I mean I'm not even sure what this is anymore. Okay, now we have a triangle, right? Triangle is a good starting point. I wish there was a, you probably should have added it from scratch. So bottom here, and then just drag here, drag here. We redo this, all of this automated anyway, so I'm starting to sound like Bob Ross, right? I'm sorry about that. Go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, and go here. And I thought there was one in the middle, and we're done, right? We did all the rocks. I hope. Let's see. Oh, is there a way? Is there a way while this is compiling? Unity visualize colliders in game. I'm pretty sure that's just a secret. Easy and quick way to show colliders in game. No, there's no one button solution. Attach mesh render, really? Oh, you have to manually do that? Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is, can we go please to the scene that is running and not some random other stuff? Where's my scene? Oh, okay. There. There's our scene, right? So we're gonna swim a little. Gonna swim a little. We're gonna pause. Ah, we can't pause. We're gonna pause. Right? We pause in game, and I think here in the editor, right? Can we see colliders here? Scripts built-in components, physics collider 2D, polygon collider 2D. Should be visible, right? No? How do I? Ah, okay. I have to actually select it and then it will show everything under that. And these colliders look pretty okay. Right, these colliders look okay. Not a lot of progress today. Well, that's not. Oh, and now Oh, that is nice, right? Because now I can play, and see the colliders. That is nice. So we can verify all of them. Kind of makes sense, and they do. The fish collider is still the wrong one, but we don't care. This one can use a little love, I guess. And if we touch it, we die. Not easy today, but we switched to Rider, which was definitely the right choice. We're gonna do one more thing, right? I'm gonna do one commit, and then we're gonna do one more cleanup before we call it a day. So, what did we do today? I would love to do a cargo format, but so I'm not sure we want to save every single animation update, but okay. We added more stuff to the packed assets. So rock A, rock E, rock D, rock F, and rock C. I wish it was alphabetical, right? We we added the entity config, and we can put more stuff in there over time, and we will. It's just the start of pulling the logic out there. Um, we'll do one cleanup pass after this commit. We put everything into dictionary for the entity configs. We added this useless lock, leave it in there. We left all the old code there. We left this here. We have this big try catch. We're going to clean this up after this commit. I just want to commit it before I break it. I'm not a fan of this try catch throw here, but it is what it is. On disable, we just disable all the entities so they can deregister their callbacks. So they don't get a callback if it gets called after it's loaded. The onload complete was moved up into the entity component. We have this lock warning here. I just like, probably we should throw that away. Actually, we should throw that away in line 160, right? Because that was just from us misunderstanding the difference. Well, syncing a hash table is a hash table, right? So let's throw that away. We don't even need to print out all the keys. This is null. We're gonna figure out what Unity, what Rider actually wants from us. And then we move this is the for each zone, right, which is still here, and then for each object in the zone, basically for each object in the zone, get the config. If we get the config, we instantiate it. If we don't have a config, we just say, yeah, we don't do it, which is much nicer than this mess here, but we'll catch up Godot on that. Don't worry. So we stage this, right? I'm not happy about this result check here, but fine. It might not have been loaded yet. We added a getter for the CRC and actually print out the CRC during loading. Actually, I want to comment that out in the new zone, right? Because it was just too noisy. We probably should have a global flag that says debug or something. And commented that out. Gonna stage this. I'm still not sure. Something is wrong with my Sublime, so I'm gonna do a quick no. That's the old project. Git status here on the command line. And yes, we want to basically git at obstacles rocks star prefab star, right? And then double check, that's the exports from Godot, the icon. I think this is fine. So let's do an update to the to-do file real quick. So we added zone loading. We don't do saving for now, right? There's no load and save is the same, but let's ignore that. We don't have zone management yet, so this is still work in progress. So in progress at, so what did we do today? We learned how to type, right? 912. Unity improve zone handling. We zone handling, well, not zone handling, improve obstacle spawning and loading, right? And then we Unity add remaining rocks, including textures, collisions, and so on. And we're gonna stage this, and this is already S01, E08, add improve. I mean, we just wrote that text, right? Improve the obstacle spawning in Unity. And yes, I know for some of you this shows up as title and description, but for me it's just multiple descriptions. Add remaining rocks to Unity. And it's not to Unity, it's to the Unity version, but for Godot we also said add to Godot. So we're gonna commit these files, we're gonna rebase, and we're gonna push. Not sure why that scene animation, probably because it's running in the editor. That's why it constantly saves. Or I pressed save actually. So there's one thing I want to clean up, right? This works, but I'm not happy about this monster here, right? This monster here, I am not happy. Not happy at all. So what we want to do is we we could do this manually. We could write a function, right, that just gets the CRC and the name and does the rest. So let's do that, right? So, and we're almost there, right? We're almost there. So what if we had a, I don't know what I did here. Can we get rid of this? What can I? Okay. So our game manager, what if we had a private, let's say void for the moment, add entity, right? Add entity. And what if we just took this code, and I already stole the braces, right? What if we took this code, and what's the flexible part of this? The flexible part is the CRC here, right? So we have a uint, which is the CRC, and we have the as addressable name. Addressable name. Oh, and this is actually a string, right? That's why I tried to be helpful. And let's switch to addressable name, and then we can just say CRC here, addressable name here, right? And obviously this rock A is not correct anymore, but what we could do here now is we could say add entity. Is it add entity, or did we say add entity config? We said add entity, names, who cares, right? We take this, right? And we take this, and we just replace this, right? And we take this and copy this a few times and take this and this and this and this, and that's B and C. And then we take this and this and this. I'm pretty sure I could have used a smart editor function to do that automatically for me, but okay, we could have just said, hey, right click, refactor, right, extract, method, Next time. Next time. I need one more of these, right? So we do F and F. And that already reads much better, right? Because we see D here. This here is A, and this here is B, and so on. So we see errors, and it's all nicely blocked. And the next step is just to load this from a text file. And then you just edit the text file and don't even edit the code anymore and don't have recompilation times, right? Shall we give this a shot? I mean, I'm not sure if add entity is the right way to do it. Probably let's rename this and let's refactor this, right? Rename add entity config. Right, that's slightly better. That's slightly better. Still not perfect, but let's see what Unity says to that. And that's how you get your code cleaner step by step. I still, we remove the creating game manager. Just don't want to wait for the compile again. And let's see. So this does look good. I mean, real quick, I go to the scene, I select the obstacles, and then I go back to game and I see all the borders, right? And these buttons are so confusing because this is a play button, not a stop button. So, and if I collide with something, I get into the dying thing, and then I get into the respawn thing, and if I press space now, it deletes everything. If I press space again, it spawns everything. We still have to do the offset handling and all of that. But we have a game. And the seagrass will be interesting. I don't even want to start thinking about that animation stuff. But we started late. It is late. I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna do a quick cleanup pass over this, right? And this probably should be in an extra file and not in the middle of this, but that's fine with me. And we're gonna remove this step by step. We're gonna remove this because we don't need this really. That was just for testing. And we're gonna remove a lot of stuff here. I still want to keep this table in here for the moment. And I want to remove this. And this is the whole zone management where we load everything in the folder and shows the right thing, right? So we're gonna leave the zone loading alone for the moment. We remove this because we basically say, hey, all our entity components, disable them all. In case they're still loading, we want to say, hey, stop loading. I mean, they might be downloading 5 GB from the internet, right? It's not, but update is empty, spawn zone. This we're gonna look into. Implicit check for Unity lifetime. I'm not even sure what it's trying to tell me, but fair enough. This can go. This probably could move here to make this a bit cleaner, and maybe we can move this outside of the loop. This debug lock here, we want to do differently. Maybe we want to have like a hash set of these entries and collect them all and dump one list of all of them, or count them, have a dictionary and count them up to see, hey, 15 of these, 20 of these, 84 of these, one of these. Might just be a typo. The cleanup, and I think, to be honest, let's just give this one more try. One more try. We're gonna swim. I so want to spawn this. Swims into the first rock, but that was intentional. And now we can swim and wow. Nice. That was weird, but I guess that was a one frame shutdown glitch. So minor cleanup in Unity scripts. This is just we removed a little ton of dead code. We did. I think this one is actually nice. I mean, look how cute this looks, and you see typos instantly and stuff, and lots of comments removed. So I'm gonna stage this, and I think my Sublime is having some issues. Maybe it's a Unity project. We definitely need to tweak our git ignore at some point. Commit this, rebase, push. And as always, yeah, left Godot, right Unity. As always, all the code, open source, in the usual place. Don't steal the assets. They're not fully mine licensed. You know what to do, right? But you can follow along. And we're still doing Godot Unity in Zinc. And I think Unity is slowly catching up to the Godot version. I mean, Godot has a lot of nice features already, like this zoom stuff, this debug overlay, this debug camera thing, right? We can see what's going on. We see the zone progress, which is good for debugging to see, hey, as soon as the zone is 100%, we should spawn the next one, right? So right now it goes to the next one, and you saw this on the right here. Maybe if I go to small, you see it even better. So there's a lot of nice to have features in here, right? Which are mostly for us, not for the player, but it's spawning multiple zones. It's not repeating the first zone, right? And obviously we have this next zone, which cleans up the current zone and just spawns in the next zone. And we can just, the zone generator is not there yet, but next time Unity load multiple zones, all zones in the streaming asset folder called zones. And maybe we start with a little UI. I want at least some of that, and then we can see if we get into zone management. But for today, that's all I got for you. And we should probably end on a Unity version, right? We should end on a Unity version after Unity stream. We should end on a Unity version if it ever starts. And with that, as usual, stay safe. I'm Antti, and I'm out. We're doing Fiiish. See you the next time.